3 here today. Going to talk a little bit about what's inside of this funny looking tan. Obviously not what you're used to with a Glock box. Maybe it has something to do with what's inside, which is the 19 Generation X. This is the firearm that many believe should have won the military or the armed forces trials for a replacement for the M9. And what I'm doing with it. Why do I have this? Well, a lot of that has to do with this particular firearm right here, which is the Glock 19 Generation 5. Because of the trigger on this, because of the lack of finger grooves, which are two things that we have on the 19X, I'm very interested in having this firearm. So we're going to get into that a little bit today. We'll go ahead and start and just talk about what comes in the box. In addition to what you see packed in there, typical Glock goodies, you have a couple magazines. These are actually 19 round magazines. They're 17 with 2 round additions. So these are 17 plus 2, so 19. So including in the chamber, you can carry 20 rounds, which is nice. Also, more of a standard magazine. This is a 17 rounder. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Like I said, the fact that I have had such a good impression with the 19 Generation 5 is why we decided to do that. And in terms of looking at the 19 Generation 5, there's obviously some differences, what I'm going to talk about. I've got several videos up on this Generation 5 19. It has been a concealed carry firearm for me for the last 6+ months. It will continue to be. But for other uses, such as carrying in my trusty briefcase, as well as the fact that this can function as a carry gun as well for a larger guy like me, we'll do so. We're looking forward to talking about that. And as far as these various size back straps you can put on, I've never been a fan of these. I don't use them. Your typical Glock goodies that come in the box. So the Glock 19 Generation X, we're going to get into it. First thing you're going to notice about these two firearms is their similarities, starting with the fact that they have identical slide lengths, both the X and the 5. But what's different is going to be your grip. This is built to accommodate a 15 round magazine. Now you can do extensions and things like that. But this is a Glock 19 Gen 5 frame. This is not. A lot of people will liken this to putting a Glock 19 slide on top of a Glock 17 frame. As you can see, just looking at the differences in the magazines, you've got those extra 2 rounds available in the 19X versus the 19 Generation 5. Now, interestingly enough, this magazine works just fine. A little bit of overhang, but it'll work just fine, just like you could stick the 30 rounders in here. However, this is going to be too short to engage, so the magazines are not interchangeable. As far as using the 17 plus 2s with the extension, which it comes from the factory, you've got quite a bit of purchase. Just any hand is going to fit on there. Certainly mine does. I've got, my hands are like bear paws, tend to be kind of meaty kind of hands. So no overhang at all on this. Okay, so if we want to compare that to that, you've got a little bit. So less area to grip. Where I kind of draw the line is on the Glock 26s and some of the shorter grip models where you get this overhang. For example, I had a Glock 43 that I could not do anything with my pinky finger unless I wanted to put extensions on it, and then kind of defeated its own purpose, as they say. But looking at these two firearms right here, a lot of similarities, okay? Where are the differences? Well, this one comes with the polymer sights that you're kind of used to with a Glock, a stock Glock. It's got the big square notch in the back, and then it's got your front sight. Okay, now one upgrade with the 19X. These are metal sights, and these are tritium sights. So these are glow in the dark, which you're not going to see in this video very well, but similar kind of sight picture, similar kind of height between the two. So you can see very similar. Okay. Another thing I like about that is I can use this same in the waistband Galco holster with either one of these. It's going to work and fit exactly the same. The only difference is you're going to have a little bit more of a print with, certainly with something like this. The non+2, so 17 rounds here, yeah, you're going to have a little bit more print. That's what you're looking at right there in terms of where you might print. Now, you'll notice, and this was part of the requirement for the military trials, you'll notice that on the Generation X there is a lanyard loop. This comes out. Haven't decided if I'm going to take it out yet or not. I probably will. There's a little detent right there that I'm going to imagine is just spring-loaded or just the shape of the plastic allows a bend to take that out. It's probably going to come out because I don't think I'm ever going to hang this from my neck. Now, the version that was tested for the military required a safety, which was thumb activated, and thank you Glock for the civilian version of that. You took that off. Most of us who carry Glocks, one of the reasons we do so is the lack of that external safety. In terms of shootability, I expect to get more accuracy out of this with everything else being the same trigger, same barrel. I expect everything to be more accurate with this because I'm going to be shooting with a little bit better sight picture. And in addition to that, I'm going to have more of an area to stabilize the firearm, certainly when doing rapid fire, than I am with this. But by no means does the Glock Generation X make this seem like a small firearm at all. And there's a lot of people that will not carry a Glock 19 in the waistband because they believe it's, too big, it's not comfortable. It's not a problem for me at all. I probably won't have a problem carrying this in the waistband either. Again, I don't appendix carry, so I carry in typically in about the 4 o'clock, 4:30 position, so that isn't a problem. I guess if you're wearing a tank top in the summertime, it might be. But like I said, you have the same holster, which is nice. I'm not going to fool around with interchanging slides and barrels and all that kind of stuff with these two firearms, but I understand that it's basically all the same stuff. A little bit different on the Magwell here with the 5. If you take a close look at that, you see that's definitely a flared Magwell. It's got this big circle opening. I've talked about the pierced base plates, which I like. I like these quite a bit. Now on this particular firearm, you don't have a flared magwell at all. And you don't have the cutout on the front. And like I said, the only thing you really have is this lanyard base component that can come out. And I think it might help you if you need to grab the back of this magazine should you get stuck. I don't know. Okay, so just to give you an idea, price-wise, you know, you can get the Glock 19 Generation X these days somewhere in the neighborhood $550 to $575. I've seen them more expensive, certainly. This one, $619. So you're talking about $70 more. And you know, the next question that somebody might have is, what about the idea of just getting a 17 instead? If you want that longer grip, if you want the bigger frame and the larger capacity, and the answer is pretty obvious. There's advantages to that shorter barrel, shorter slide combination in terms of how you can carry this, and I think they're good ones. Also notice here, a lot of people complained on the Generation 5 that where you have a bevel on the front of the slide, the frame did not. It was really driving a lot of folks crazy that thought that should be continuum. And it is here. You got the beveled slide, which I really like, and then you have your frame that also has the same bevel. That would probably be a big deal to me if it was getting caught up in the holster in any way, shape, or form, and it's not at all. This is minor. So, you know, this makes more sense. It makes a little bit prettier picture, but at the end of the day, who cares? Now, part of what's kind of an adjustment for me, and this color is, by the way, called, I believe, Coyote Brown. Part of what's a little bit of an adjustment for me is I've always been a black gun guy when it comes to, certainly when it comes to polymer firearms. And here they come along with this desert tan version for the military. And I have to say, it kind of grows on me a little bit. I'm not one that's usually too enthusiastic about slides that are colored and all that kind of stuff. I've always been more traditional in the, hey, this stuff ought to be black, but kind of grows on you. The thing we're going to want to do next is shoot this sucker and do some comparisons. We'll hopefully get a chance to do that this weekend. Just because of my experience with the Gen 5 and particularly this very sweet trigger, I would expect that it's going to shoot every bit as good and maybe a little bit better. Like we said, you've got a little bit more of a grip to work with to stabilize your firearm when you're shooting it. But I've heard nothing but really good things from the guys who shoot these. I'm excited to get on it, and there's no such thing as having too many good firearms, in my opinion. No such thing. So until we have a chance to do that, this is DR Drake signing off. Hope you're having a good day.